So far we've talked about what a complex number is. It has a real part and it has an imaginary part at the back. This is strictly where I is a new concept and I is equal to the square root of -1. And if you have I squared, we say that's always going to equal -1. And we've added complex numbers and we've subtracted complex numbers and we have multiplied a complex number by another number. So you can multiply all of this by 2 or by 3. What I want to look at now is multiplying two complex numbers together. And this requires just a little bit of manipulation. Say if I have two different complex numbers. Say we've got Z1, let's call that 3 plus 4i. And we have another one, which is, let's say this is 2 plus 10i. If I want to multiply these two complex numbers together, Z1 multiplied by Z2, I would have 3 plus 4i multiplied by 2 plus 10i. And it's not a straightforward thing. You have to multiply every single part of this complex number by every single part of this complex number. And we can use the FOIL method. The FOIL method works in a situation like this, just like it would do if you're multiplying x plus 2 times x plus 3 or something. Here, we multiply the first two together. The first eyebrow, 3 times 2 is 6. Then the outside 2, 3 times 10i is 30i. Then the inside 2, that gives me 4i times 2 is plus 8i. There's no negative numbers involved here yet, but you have to be careful with the negatives. I'll show you one in a second. The last two, I've got 4i times 10i. To multiply those two things together, I've got the 4 times the 10 gives me 40, and the I times the I gives me I squared. And I can simplify this part of the whole formula because I squared is equal to -1. These two are like terms, they can be added together. I've got a -1 here times 40, which gives me a -40. So I can add together the 6 and the -40. So in the middle, I have the 38i. At the back, I've got -1 times 40, so that's -40. And then I can join these two together. So I have 6 take away 40, which is -34 plus 38i. So a complex number, it's easy to add them, it's easy to subtract them, but to multiply two of them together, you just have to take a little bit more time. And it's like multiplying out brackets that we've seen previously. Let's just do another quick one, okay? I'm going to use one with some negative numbers involved here. Let's say if we had 4 plus 3i, and then here we're going to have 7 take away just I, okay? So the first two, that's 28. The outside two is -4i. The inside two would be plus 21i. And the last two, I get 3i times -i, which gives me -3i squared. So -3i squared is -3 times -1. I squared is always -1. Whenever you see I squared, you can just replace it immediately with the -1. So this is -3 times -1, which gives me plus 3. So I have 28 plus 3, which gives me 31. And in the middle here, I've got -4i plus 2, 21i. So that's going to give me, what's that, plus 17i. So there's potentially minuses all over the shop. Let's try one more of those. Let's say I had -6 plus 2i. And then here I'm going to have 10 minus 5i. The first two, I get -60. The outside two, -6 times -5 is plus 30. And the I there, so it's plus 30i. -6 minus 5 times I. The inside two, I'm going to have plus 20i. And the last two, I've got 2 times 5, 2 times -5. So that's -10. And I times I gives me I squared. So if there's going to be one positive number here and one negative number here, we get a negative coefficient, but the I squared is going to be -1. So we end up with a positive number overall. And this is the extra bit you don't normally have to worry about. If you have an I squared appearing, then you can replace it with -1. So we've got -60 plus 50i, and at the back here, -10 times -1 is plus 10. So the final answer for this one would be -60 plus 10 is -50 plus 50i. There we go. So just remember, I squared is always equal to -1. But take your time with these. When you multiply them together, do one more of these. 2 plus 3i, 7 minus 4i. When you're doing these, just take your time. Do go through once, do the first, outside, inside, last. So 14 for the first two, minus 8i for the second two, plus 21i for the inside two. And the last one here, don't rush this, but you've got 3 times minus 4 is minus 12. You've got I times I, so that's I squared. Then go through and simplify the middle two. So 14 minus 8 plus 21, that is going to be plus 13i. The last one here, let's fix this because I squared is minus 1, minus 12 times minus 1 is going to give me plus 12. And then simplify these two. That's 26 plus 13i. I suspect that if you try and do this all in one go, then you're going to end up with making a mistake, or you might miss a minus sign here. So just be careful. This process is just a little bit more complicated than if you're doing like x plus 2, x minus 7, because you have this extra I squared bit at the back. Okay, so I'm going to give you some work. Good luck.